Right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, family. Somebody is greeting us so nicely this morning. Hi, guys. Good morning. Just a tad late and apologize for that. Some mornings are better than others. I see we are all here. And because we are late, I do want to start on time because I need to finish on time as well. But I'll take a few greetings. My lioness is here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And Nako, I love that second name from Gqeberha. Molweni Bethune, Molweni. Somebody joining us from the group. Good morning. Majere is here representing Botswana. We start. All right. But please do continue to greet. Today, those of us who joined us last week will know that we had the message. We were talking about the woman with the issue. All right. And the story is in Matthew chapter 9, Mark chapter 5, Luke chapter 8. All right. I'm not going to read it again because I'm trying to save time. And we've made the 2 points last week. All right. We've made the 2 points last week. Greetings in Francistown. And the first point that we made last week was the point of her determination. That one of the things that moved me about the story is how determined she was to get to Jesus. All right. We spoke about that. We spoke about relentlessness. We spoke about not giving up. We spoke about whatever it is that we are dealing with, that God is actually just pushing us to keep at it. Then the second thing that we spoke about was stillness. And of course, we went to Psalms 46, and that is, be still and know that I'm God. And so we really spent time on those two things, the stillness and, of course, the relentlessness. So today I want us to go to the knowing, and basically we just continue with that story. So the last we left her, she had made it. She had pressed through the crowd, and we spoke about the crowds of our own lives. And so if you were not here last week, go to our YouTube channel, Building Great Lives, and go and listen to part 1 of this message. Whilst there, please remember to subscribe to the channel. So she had made it. She had pressed through the crowd. She had gathered up enough energy. But please remember the following. And I think the more I think about it, I was lying awake. That's partly why I'm a little bit late this morning. Sorry, I'm just trying to adjust my camera. I was lying awake last night, stuck on the point that I'm going to make now. And the only thing that comes to my mind, because I keep asking God, what was it? Because I'm asking for it. So this morning, if I had to give a subtitle to our messages, Lord, I'm looking for that thing. You know, we talk about this thing in it, that thing. This woman for me had that thing. And I'm asking God for that thing. And so that's our prayer this morning. Lord, I'm looking for that thing. I'm looking for that thing. And of course, the only word that comes to my mind, and we mentioned it last week, and that is the word, is divine providence. That's the word. It's divine providence. There may be more. And that's why I'm saying to Lord, it's that thing, because I feel like there needs to be a lot more. There must be a lot more to the story. So anyway, so let's go back to the story, because I don't want to be long this morning. And so we spoke about how she tried to get to Jesus. 2 places she could not access him, all right, by the Sea of Galilee and then Matthew's house. But she continued. And this is where that thing comes in. The Bible, when it speaks about her, it says that she, and the Bible is actually explicit in telling us this, that she had tried so many other doctors, for lack of, at this point we come across her, she's even broke. You know, it's one thing, and many of us can attest to this. It's one thing to be in pain. It's one thing to be sick. It's one thing to be dealing with an unanswered prayer. It's another to be sick and to be dealing with an unanswered prayer, to be an outcast of society, to be isolated, and to be poor. In other words, what else could have happened to this woman? What's the worst that could have happened to her now? She had just basically lost everything. She had lost possibly her family. She had lost her contacts. She had lost her money. She had lost her dignity. She possibly had lost all the energy that she, because this thing drains energy. So this is a woman who was actually supposedly supposed to have just given up on life. But for some reason, she did not. give up. And we spoke about her determination last week. And the Bible, is it me that somebody says they can't seem to hear? I hope that it's not my audio. Someone please let me know. I don't want to continue if you can't hear me. Someone please let me know if I'm audible. Someone says they can't hear. Someone please let me know. Because nobody said they can't hear, but I don't want to continue if somebody can't hear. So I'm just pausing now to attend to the issue of volume. Thank you so much. So somebody else can hear me. Sis, if you can maybe just increase your volume with your device. Okay, so back to the story. So we've spoken about her relentlessness. So now here's the part for me, and I will give you a little bit of a context as to what made me identify with her. The Bible says that she had tried many doctors, all right, many doctors, and nobody could help her. And by now, she had run out of money. Thank you so much, ladies. I've captured you. By now, she had run out of money. So she's without money. She's without strength. She's without family. And for some reason, she still has the courage to get up and go. Many of you would know that I lost my father in 2017. My best friend, the lover of my life, like East Handbasam. And I say that I often am conscious of my husband, but I lost my father in 2017, October. And when my father, in his last days, well, it's not days, like not last few days, but in his last couple of years, maybe, he had started to embrace the idea of God. He was starting to discover God as the only God. He had never not believed in God, but he was starting to discover God as the only God. He grew up from the school of the ancestors, and the school of the ancestors does not dismiss God, but it says that we access God through the ancestors. There was no Jesus in the school of the ancestors. So as he was growing older with time and life, and he was starting to discover God and direct access to God in the absence of the ancestors. Now, in that same lifestyle, there is a strong belief in traditional healers. Let me use that word, because there's witch doctors and there's inyangas, there's isangomas. Now, that can be a contextual language, but if I use the word traditional healers, everybody would know. And here's the part I'm going to. Every single time, I mean, and my father passed when I was 40. So from when I could remember, maybe 5, 6, he was consulting traditional healers. Every single time he would meet this new one, he would come home and say, "Mntanam, inkunzi." In other words, this one is the one. And whatever the issue was, he would go to that particular one, trusting and hoping that that one would help and would heal. And unfortunately, over the 35 years, maybe 36, 34, that I was conscious of this whole thing, we never met the right Nkunzi, but we keep going to Ezinkunzi. So this woman has possibly had a similar experience. And yes, the part that is making me ask God for that thing is that what was different about Jesus from all the many doctors and traditional healers and makreles and isangomas that she had consulted before, that made her not give up in spite of having tried? Because remember, she tried to get to him. One, she goes to him by the Sea of Galilee. She can't even see him. 2, she goes to him at Matthew's house and she can't even see him. 3, he now comes through the neighborhood. And in this time around, she goes to him, but she still can't get to him because there's many people around him. Now, Umdondi, who had been to many traditional healers and had not been healed and lost money and lost everything, I think I would have turned by now, because there he was. Right? I know he's here, and for some reason he's close by, but I still can't get to him. Well, he must be one of the hundreds of traditional healers that I have consulted. And so I go home, another one bites the dust. That would have been my attitude. But this is the thing I'm asking God for. of the many things that we are dealing with in our daily lives, in our personal lives, in our intimate lives, the things that we have been talking to people about, the things that we have been going to counselors about, the things that we have been submitting as prayer requests, the things that maybe nobody even knows about, that we have been talking to people about, and we are not finding healing. What is that thing that you planted in that woman that made her, in spite of the blockages, the blockage after blockage that she experienced between her and you, that made her not give up? What gave her the relentlessness this time around, considering her experience in the past? Because it's one thing for us guys to talk about relentlessness, and then no, don't give up. But you know what they say? What do they say is I'm missing the right word, stupidity, or what is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. What is that word? Somebody please help me with that word. But foolishness, I'm going to use that one for now. But I think there's a word that they use that says doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Remember, at this point in time, all she has is the report about Jesus. She has no experience with Jesus. So as far as she's possibly concerned, is that Jesus is the same as traditional healer number 1, as the same as traditional healer number 7 or number 100 or number 120, depending on how many she has consulted in 12 years of her life. So as far as she's repeating her same procedure, but for some reason, and I'm saying to God, because I want to approach you with that thing that made this woman not give up this time, in spite of the fact that it was difficult for her to access it. Because I have big things that I have been bringing before God every single day, every single year. I have these things, but for some reason, this woman did not want to give up. I'm asking for God for that thing. Anyway, so she approaches him, and we know what happens, right? She presses through the crowd, driven by this thing. Like I said to you, the only word that came to my mind as I was lying down asking God, what is it? The only thing that came to my mind was perhaps divine providence. I don't know, right? But the word that keeps coming to my mind is divine providence. If it is, then I'm asking God this morning for divine providence. For providence. That's what I'm asking God for, divine. If it is not divine providence, Lord, I don't know what it is, but I know I want it. I want it because I need to approach you with that same posture, with that same spirit, with that same attitude, with that same relentlessness, so that I can get what this woman got. Because remember what she got. So she comes close to Jesus, presses through the crowds. For some reason, nobody steps on her, or the Bible just does not bother to tell us that somebody might have stepped on her, because I don't know how you can go there. And remember, she was not walking at eye level, right? Because maybe she was avoiding people from seeing her. So she had to go down and go through and meander and press through the crowd, but from the floor, from between the people's feet, right? And she goes there, and here's the thing. The Bible says, she said to herself, and we spoke about that. She said to herself, if I can just touch. Now I'm adding this part here. I know I will be healed. If I can just touch, the Bible text says, if I can just touch, I will be healed. But I'm adding the I know, because she must have said that. If I can just touch, I know I will be healed. Again, I'm asking my lioness, Lord, give me that thing. Because here is a woman. Because what is the least that I would then want? If I'm really decided, I want to see Jesus. This is the man, this is the healer, this is the traditional healer, and I believe that he's going to heal me. The least that I'm looking for is to make eye contact with him. I need to see him so that he can heal me. This woman does not even need to see him. She does not even need to see him. There is something that has happened to her before she even gets to Jesus that says to her, Dadwetu, all you need to do is be close enough to his presence. All you need to do is come into contact with his glory and you will be healed. He does not even need to see you. He does not even need to say anything to you. If he does, that's a bonus. All you need to do is to come as close enough to his presence and you will be healed. I want that thing. I need God to give me that strong thing. The other writer says it's faith. I want that thing. That's really what I'm looking for this morning. She presses through the crowd and she does not even want to see him. She just wants to touch him. not touch his hand, guys, not touch his ankle. He does not want to touch his anything. All he wants, even if ndibambe, in my language, of course, just the hem of his garment, I know I will be healed. I need that driving force inside my sister over here to drive me to approach Jesus with the same relentlessness that she did. That's it, guys. That's it. That's what I'm looking for this morning. I know that she gets the healing, but for us to get the healing, we need to get to Jesus. For us to get to Jesus, we need the thing that drove this woman so strongly that she was not going to be deterred. She couldn't get to his eye level. She couldn't touch him physically. And it's the glory of Jesus. We know of people who were healed just by being touched by other people's clothes. And they were healed. That's the power of Jesus. We know of people who were healed just by being touched by his tunes. That's the glory of Jesus. We know of people who were healed by falling on the dead bodies of other people. I want that thing. I want that thing. But what I want, before I even get to Jesus, I guess I am asking for divine providence. For God to meet me halfway and make me unstoppable. Unstoppable so that I can be driven to go to him. To go to him. I want God, and I'm asking him to meet me here at my point of need, at my bleeding point, at my point of without energy, at my point of having given up, at my point of having thrown my hands in the air, at my point of disbelief. As that father said, Lord, I believe, but help thou. I need Jesus to meet me at my point of poverty, at my point of wickedness, at my point of weakness, and plant in me the drive to approach Jesus for my healing. Because that's the story here. That's the story here. If we look at her situation, there was no way that she had the energy and the confidence. The confidence. We know there are people who want to come to Jesus, but they can't go to him because boyikatina. And we talk about that. And rightfully so. But what I'm asking God is, Lord, meet me at my point of low confidence. At my point of low self-esteem. At my point where I have given up on me and my ability to do anything. I need you to meet me at that point and plant that thing, that driving force in me, so that even if and I know you are going to judge me because I'm bleeding and I am bloody, but I will drive past you to get to him because I know he has my healing. But I need I need that point here to take the next few steps in my life. I need God. At this point, this message is overtaking me. Sometimes that is what stops us. That is what stops us from approaching Jesus. We are waiting to be strong. We are waiting to be clean. We are waiting to be recovered. We are waiting to be clean, to be nice, to be neat, to have the right clothes. We are waiting to have the right words and then approach him. And I'm saying, Lord, it's been 12 years. I don't even know what to say anymore. There's a video that somebody shared yesterday. It's very funny. But I look, we see theology and everything, but I saw deep theology in that video. Somebody might have seen it. And that is of a woman who is drunk. She's praying for her friend who is in hospital. This is a drunk woman praying for a friend in hospital. Now, whether it's a stage or not, but I picked up the lesson there. She's drunk and she's praying. Her first words is, of course, andifuni ke manje nothetha nawe, bengingafuni nothetha nawe. I need God to approach me, to come to me and give me that thing while I am still drunk, and use whatever that providence is in my drunk mind, in my drunk state. In my state, there are many of us, I'm not in talking terms. I need God in my not talking terms to plant that thing in me such that that thing can drive me to approach Him. Although I'm drunk, and we know it. That God met and they were drunk. They were drunk when they met Jesus. But God planted something past the alcohol, past the drugs, past everything, and nothing drove them. That is it. It kept me awake. It kept me awake at night. Guys, she was bleeding when she went. She was bleeding when she went. She was still an outcast when she went. She was still an outcast when she went. She was still without energy when she went. She was still not supposed to go. She was still an isolated of society by law. By law. By law. By law. Let the law take its course. But while I'm in prison, I need that thing. Because if you get to me, I will get to you. If you get to me, I'll get to you. And so that thing happens, guys. I use the word driving force. I use the word providence. And I'm saying, God, because now, listen to that thing. Ayisuki laa nto, and we know it. The minute umntu akathi xa decide uzibambela uYesu asibonakali nobonakala. As far as that woman was concerned, there was no crowd this time around. It stopped her at Matthew's house. It stopped her at the Sea of Galilee. For 12 years, the crowd told her to stay away. But this time around, there was no crowd. It was her and it was Jesus. And she was not going to be stopped. She was not going to be deterred because Jesus, as a driving force inside of her, was drawing Jesus that stood there in person, the Son of Man that was stood there in person. English is leaving me. Was wachala, wade wafika. Ekufikeni kwakhe, I imagine her stretching and because I can't reach his arm. He's still physically as Son of Man far. But as she was drawing closer, I am sensing in the atmosphere was changing. As she was drawing closer, the atmosphere around Jesus was changing. She was feeling something she had never felt in years. She was feeling like she was 30 if she was 42 now. She was feeling like she was 40 if she was 52 now, because the Bible doesn't give us her age. It was 46 like me. She was feeling like she was 34 right now. As she was coming closer and closer to Jesus, the driving force grew stronger. The thing in her grew stronger, but the atmosphere around her kept changing, and it said, come. Yababona bephithizela bakukho into engisalayo. iBhayibheli ithi wasondela nje nqako indawo afuna uyibamba, because here was God in the flesh dwelling among men. The Bible says in the flesh dwelling among men, and he was not just what the people there were dealing with was the human Jesus. But what she encountered was God. Jesus was Jesus, the Son of God and God Himself. iBhayibheli ithi wachukumiseka nje waphila. Nansi ke indawo sizomvala. So the first thing I'm asking for is for that driving force. The second thing I'm asking for is for that touch. iBhayibheli ithi wamchukumisa. Well, the Bible doesn't say it, but it implies it, because uchukumisile. Emva kubechukumisile, guys, waguquka, wahamba, waguquka, wahamba. Yathi driving force kuye, uphilile dadewethu, uphile akhange athethe mntu mamela ke khangachile omama bakulinda bayayazi because kaloku if you go there and you know and sometimes you leave abantu abakuthi you know uyaliva nalisithi thacu nalishushu ume endaweni uyaliva nalo. She went feeling it and stress makes it worse. So she went feeling it. She went knowing that it's there. But the driving force would not let her go. And she presses through the crowd and she gets to him and she touches him. Which were to herself and to God. If I can just touch, I know I will be made whole. She touched him and she was whole. As far as she was concerned, she was whole without checking. Without checking, she did not stop to say, okay, all right, I went here to know, I gave it my all to get to him. I have touched him. I wonder if I'm well. She's well, and she had said to herself, if I can, all I need is to come into the presence of the glory of Jesus, and I know if I can just touch a little bit of that glory, I know I will be well. And she gets into the presence and she touches the hem of his garment. She knows she's well. And you know what? She turns and she walks away. I'm asking God, because I need that touch. Because what's the difference between her touch? Guys, if listen to the word. Maybe let me go there. Pakati yes. No yes. And many of us on a daily basis we bump against Jesus. Yes, but we don't touch him. And so this morning I say, God, I need you to give me that touch. How did she touch you? Because I need to touch you in that manner. I need to touch you in that same manner that made her know. I know. That I have been made well. Why is that an issue? When she touches him, and we're going to talk about that with our Jesus' response and stuff, but I want to go to Peter. She touches him and she turns and she walks away because she knows the driving force to touch and the driving force to know. I imagine the intensity with which she went to touch. And I imagine the deep, long sigh that she took after the touch. I know I am well. 12 years later, healing has come. Peter. And so Jesus, of course, does not want to let this situation go. I'm almost at the end. He doesn't want to let this thing go. So he has to pay attention to it. But I'm going to talk about the attention of Jesus. But Jesus asked me, oh, but when I was a guy, to tell us tenders, imithandazo enjalo. Imithandazo ezabushukumisa. Sitsawuvula umlomo bathi bethu umkhomdo nichukumisileyo. We live in a world where there are possibly 7, 6, 5, 4 billion people at a time rapping against him. At a time, engqubeka kuye, but Thixo ndicela laa ndlela bekuchukumise ngayo ezawuthi ndakuchukumisa. Usabele and ask the question, somebody touch me. How did she touch him? How did she touch him? Because ubuza lo mbuzo bankosi utsho njani? Uba someone touch utsho njani? Uba someone touch you ngoba sonke sikule ndawo siyakuchukumisa. Sonke kule ndawo we are all rapping against you, and notice the difference. Peter says all of us are rapping and bumping against you. Jesus says I'm not talking about people bumping against me. I'm talking about somebody who touched me. Who touched me? Who touched me? And Lord, I'm saying, drive me to that point where when I come into your presence and I open my mouth and touch you symbolically, that you know I have touched you, that you know I have touched you. Number 2, when I have touched you, whether you say anything to me or not, because sometimes, and I say this to him often, because sometimes we just need him to say a word, because katete, ndicela ilizwi inkosi, lo mama khangafuna nezwi bandla kwethu, ndifuna nje ukumchukumisa. whether you say anything or not, if I can just be in your presence and touch you, whether you say something or not, I know I'm well. I know I am healed. Lord, I'm praying for that driving force. I'm praying for that touch. I am praying for that faith. That what would like compare casual touch. Casual touch or casual faith and the faith of this woman, and that the difference between everybody else that was there, it was casual. They were just there. Yes, they were just here mesmerized at what he was doing, but there was nobody who was genuinely looking to touch him, except for this woman. She was looking to touch him. Now, Jesus, and as I close the story, because it's important for me to touch it. If I don't touch it here, I would have then left it out. Jesus then, and this is the power of our God. He does not want to let this one go. He stops. Who touched me? Who touched me? And she had turned and she was walking away. Now, here is the danger, and here is the beauty of our God. Here's the danger of her walking away healed, but nobody knows except for her. Is that for her to be brought back into society, there was a healer to the high priests to say that, hey, look at me, I've been healed. She was going to have to do that, number one. But here's the even bigger danger to that. These were the high priests that denied the power of Jesus. So and I don't see her not telling them that it is Jesus who healed me. So she was going to tell. And here's the problem. If she was the one that was going to say, Jesus healed me, they, the high priest, were going to deny her healing, because that healing has come from this unpopular Jesus. I have no time to follow that track. But God knowing, being all-knowing, and God, this is the power. It's the power of Jesus. This is the power of prayer. The second problem with her walking away is that she was going to walk away with partial blessings. She was going to walk away with 50% of the story. What do you mean, Mamtawe? Is in healing all that she needed. That is all that she needed. But God, that is not all that God had in store for her. So when we come to God in prayer, we go to him for what we think we need. Yes, one, and then you will have 5. If just healing, God says, I'll give you healing, but healing is 50% of the story. I have more. So that's the second problem, is that she walked away with healing that was not enough. So God acknowledges her faith, stops the entire crowd that did not even see her. Now everybody is going to see her. Somebody touched me. And she stops. And of course she answers, Lord, I'm the one that touched you. Listen to the words of Jesus. Your faith has made you, listen to this, whole. Healed, my friend, is one thing. There are people who are walking around healthy and half. That's half the blessing. But what that woman needed, as far as she was concerned, was healing. But what that woman needed, as far as God was concerned, was wholeness. Wholeness comes with healing and Jesus. And that is when you get wholeness. You want to be healed, sure. But more than healing, you want Jesus. You want Jesus. You want restoration. You want restoration. You want holistic wholeness, holistic health. That's what you want. And so Jesus, in stopping her, restored her, of course, restored her dignity, because everybody now was not going to tell her to walk away, because they knew that she was made whole by Jesus. But he gave her wholeness for her now. If she had walked away, she would have walked away with partial blessings, and she would have walked away with a burden of proof on her to tell people that Jesus has healed me. No, I healed you. Let me restore you. I don't just want you to be well. And I'm going to those of us who have prayer requests, 12 years of prayers that you're praying for. My friend, press through the crowd, we said. Be still, we said. Ask God for the driving force, for the providence, we said. And just get into his presence. Touch him if you can, we say. But please, once you get your healing, and I say when, because the question is just when, because he who has promised is faithful to answer on his promises. When you get your healing, don't walk away without your wholeness. And wholeness is found in Jesus. It's found in Jesus. And that's the story for today. It's Wellness Wednesday. It's fasting day. I challenge you. Bring it all to him. Pray that he gives you the force. He gives you the force. We don't know the length of time. 12 years is not 12 years to God. You may be dealing with it. It's been 20 years. That's not 20 years to God. 20 years to us. We are the ones who are counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every year is long. Every day is long. But he doesn't operate like that. The end of our devotion. In a nutshell, be still. Be still. And know that he is God. The only one who has got answers to what you're looking for. Go to him. Ask him to plant in you that thing. To plant in you that thing that's going to drive you past us, past your fears, past your own fears, past your own fears, past your own regrets, past your own regret. That thing that's going to drive you past your own regret, past your own worries, and past all of that. Ask God for that driving force that's going to drive you past all of that to get to him. And don't walk away without touching him. But don't walk away without him giving you his wholeness. Have a blessed day, guys. We'll see you on Sunday for Grace Talks and next Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday devotion. Thank you so much.